I'm Andrea Clausen. I'm a yoga teacher and personal trainer at Interlochen Country Club, and today I'm going to bring to you a gentle yoga sequence. So with a lot of my practices, I like to include props. If you don't have any, no big deal, but if you do have some, I would suggest grabbing a block or two, a blanket, and it doesn't have to be a yoga blanket, it can be one from your couch, and then a bolster. And if you don't have a bolster, a large pillow will also do just fine. And again, if you don't have any of that equipment, no worries. I will give you modifications on how to do everything without equipment. All right, so maybe if you want to grab those equipment, press pause, and then meet me back on your mat. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by taking a seated position. So go ahead and find just a comfortable seated position, gently closing your eyes. Palms can be flipped down on the legs. And we'll start by taking a deep inhale in through the nose and open mouth exhale out through the mouth. Taking another deep inhale in through the nose and open mouth exhale out through the mouth. And then I want you to continue that breath, maybe sealing off the mouth, breathing in and out through the nose and settling into your body today. I always like to do check-ins, and since we're virtual today, I want you to kind of check in with yourself. Just notice how your body feels. Maybe the hips need to be moved a little bit side to side. Maybe your shoulders want to be rolled up and down your back. Maybe you want to loosen your face just a little if you notice you're gripping anywhere. Just doing a quick body scan and releasing any tension that you might be holding. And with your next breath, we're going to go ahead and take a nice inhale in through the nose as we roll the shoulders up by our ears. And that exhale, you'll roll the shoulders down your back. We'll do that once more. Inhale, rolling those shoulders up by your ears. Exhale, rolling them down your back. And let's take that one more time, rolling them up by your ears on that inhale. And exhale, rolling them down your back. And then next, we're going to go ahead and on our inhale, we're going to pull the chest forward and we're going to go in a little circle. So our inhale is going to pull the chest forward. Our exhale, we're going to round through the spine and roll backwards. So almost like you're doing a moving cat-cow, but rolling in circles as you do so. So inhale pulls you forwards, exhale you'll circle around. And as we do this, I want you to try to match the movement with your breath. So really slowing down the movement to pair with the breath, especially if you've been feeling anxious, which probably is most of us right now. Just trying to match that breath with the movement, slow everything down, connect back to the body. And the next time that you're back, we're going to go ahead and slowly rotate in the opposite direction. So pulling that inhale pulls our chest forward, rotating the opposite direction with that circle. Exhale, still going to push you back. Inhale is going to pull you forward. Exhale is going to push you back. Hopefully you're not all in a squeaky floor spot like I am right now, but we're just going to roll with that. And we'll take one more big circle around. And then we're going to go ahead and find a nice tall spine. Maybe those eyes will gently open, and we'll take those palms, lifting them up above your head. And then we're going to go ahead and take that left arm down to the side. Right arm is going to reach up and overhead. Maybe you stay up on that hand, or maybe you bring that forearm down to the floor. Only if your right sits bone stays connected to the floor. So if that hip starts to lift off the floor, then just go back up to that hand. Once you found your spot there, gently look underneath that right arm, opening up through the chest, breathing in. Taking a nice deep breath, breathing all the way down into that low belly. Taking one more breath, release the shoulders away from the ears. And then on the next exhale, those arms are going to come back up to center, reaching nice and tall. And then that right arm is going to slide down to the side, left arm up and overhead. Once more, maybe you stay on that right hand or come to the right forearm. And then looking up and over that left forearm. And wherever you're at, grounding down through those sits bones, shoulders pulled down and away from the ears. Breathing all the way down into that low belly. Taking one more breath here. And your next exhale, reaching those arms back up and overhead and releasing down at your sides. You're going to go ahead and change whichever leg is in front. You're going to switch so the opposite leg is in front now. And we're going to take those arms back up and overhead. This time we're going to take a nice forward fold. So you're going to slowly walk those hands out. Maybe you come down to the forearms. Maybe those arms stay right where they are. That head can release down and opening up through the sits bones. So once more, this might be comfortable, or maybe you come to the forearms and stack your fists on top of each other and roll that forehead down. And whichever one that you choose, you're just going to make sure those sits bones are staying grounded on the floor still. So opening up through that back body. Taking one more deep breath here. And then exhale back to those hands, and then walking those hands back behind you, rolling those shoulders down and back. Looking up towards the sky, and then maybe you tip that head back a little bit more if that feels comfortable on your neck, pulling the shoulders down and away, opening through the front part of the body. One more deep breath here. And then we're going to exhale, coming onto all fours. So finding your way to all fours on your mat, you're going to go ahead and start with a few cat-cows into child's pose. So we'll take those knees about the width of the mat. Toes can come together. You're going to let that belly sink down, looking forwards. Exhale, rolling through your spine. And then you'll sit back onto your heels. Taking it, inhale, rolling, letting that belly sink down, looking up right in front of you. Exhale, tucking the chin to the chest, pushing those hips back towards the heels. And we'll flow through that a few more times, letting that belly sink down as you come forwards. And exhale, rolling through that spine, sinking back to the heels. Taking that once more, rolling up. This time as you sink back to your child's pose, you're going to go ahead and hold that child's pose. So letting those hips release down towards your heels, walking those forearms forward, and getting a nice stretch in the back body. We'll go ahead and take a few breaths here, settling into the body, and breathing all the way down into the back. So really lengthening those arms forwards, letting that forehead sink down. And then on your next exhale, gently walk those hands to the left corner of your mat, pulling that right hip and that right shoulder back. So really an opening through that right side body. Your next exhale, walking those hands forward and then taking them to the right corner of your mat, pulling that left hip back and that left shoulder back. Breathing into the left side body, finding that length and that space here. And then we'll exhale, walking those hands back to the center, coming back up to all fours, and finding that neutral spine. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to open up through the hips now. We're going to take that right leg straight out to the side, and then you're going to roll down so that right pinky toe edge of your foot stays on the floor, and you're just going to rock those hips forward and back. So opening up gently through the hips. That right leg is straight but not locked. And we're going to go ahead and draw circles now. So on your inhale, you're going to pull forward. So that exhale, you're going to bend into your right knee and push those hips down and back. Inhale will pull you forwards. Exhale will push you down and back. So similar to what we did earlier when we were seated, we're rolling through that spine. Now we're going to roll through the hips. So just gently opening up those hips and connecting it with the breath. The next time that you're sinking back, you're going to go ahead and reverse the direction of the circles. So that inhale's pulling you forward once more, exhale sinking you back. Inhale's pulling you forward, and then exhale's pushing you back. Taking one more here. And we'll go ahead and pause at the center. We're going to take that right leg straight up behind us, and then we're going to cross that right foot behind the left. You're going to look over your left shoulder back at your right toes and push into that heel. So you should feel an opening through that right calf and through that side body. So you might feel a little side body stretch on the right side as you push into the heel. And then we're going to exhale, take that right leg straight back behind you, holding your hips nice and even, taking that left palm out like you're shaking someone's hand, awakening the core, looking straight down at your yoga mat. Palms will be spread out like a starfish on that right hand. And exhale, releasing everything to the mat. And we're going to go ahead and switch sides now. We're going to take that left leg straight out to the side, pushing down through that left pinky toe edge of the foot. You're just going to shift your weight forward and back, opening up through those hips on this side. Still trying to spread your fingers out like starfishes. So you're grounding down and opening through the wrist as well. And we're going to go ahead and bring those circles in on this side. So inhale's pulling you forward, exhale's pushing you back. Inhale's pulling you forward, exhale's pushing you back. We're going to take a couple more on this side, following your breath, opening through the hip. This should feel nice and good. And we'll go ahead and reverse that direction. So once more, inhale's pulling you forward, exhale's pushing you back. Finding that rhythm. We're going to take one more. The next time that you're at center, you're going to go ahead and let that left leg hover back behind you, cross it behind the right, push into the left toes, and look back over at your left foot over your right shoulder. So opening up through the side body, opening up through that calf. Taking a few breaths here. One more breath. And then exhale, that left leg is going to hover straight back behind you. Right arm is reaching forward, evening those hips out, trying to make sure that back and the shoulders are pulled back. Thumb is up, holding here, engaging through that core. And then exhale, releasing down to your mat. We're going to go ahead and once more just shake that out with a few cat-cows, rolling out the spine, letting that settle into the body. And then finding that nice neutral spine, we're going to go ahead and curl the toes under. And we're going to come into a bear crawl hover hold. So basically from here, your toes are curled under. You're just going to lift your knees up off the mat, awakening through the core. And as we're holding here, we're making a nice flat back, so the shoulder blades are pulled down and back, and your back should be nice and flat. So I always say, if I should be able to balance a cup of coffee right in that low back and it shouldn't spill. So we should be nice, flat back, my knees are off the mat. 2 more deep breaths here. And then releasing the knees down, taking it back, child's pose. Maybe you want to roll out the wrist, taking shark fin. So maybe you just roll in the wrist out or just taking them above your head, releasing the arms a little. And then your next exhale, we're going to come back up to all fours. And this time curl the toes under, but push the hips up and back, down dog. So first down dog of the day, maybe you want to pedal out those heels. Maybe you want to bring one leg in the air and then the other, whatever would feel good. From here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that right foot, we're going to step it between our hands. We're going to drop down to our left knee, and we're going to come up into a low lunge. Arms are going to lift up and overhead. We're going to push those hips forward. Those arms can stay here, or they can always come to heart center if that feels better for the shoulders. But trying to keep those shoulders down and away, we're going to take an open twist. You're going to take the right arm back, left arm forward. So open twist here, shoulders are pulled down and away. One more deep breath. And then exhaling those arms back to center. We're going to go ahead and take those hands on the inside of that right foot. You might stay up on those hands here, or you might come down onto a block if you have it, a blanket, or maybe all the way down onto your forearms. So now your forearms might be on the floor or on a block, but opening up through the inner part of the hip. We'll just be here for a few breaths. And your next exhale, pushing back up to those hands, and then stepping that right knee to match the left. Maybe you want to swing the hips side to side, just kind of balance that out. All right, we're going to go ahead and curl the toes under, hips up and back, down dog. This time we're going to take that left foot, stepping it between the hands, dropping down to the right knee, and then lifting those arms up and overhead, sinking those hips forward, engaging through the core though, and taking a few breaths here. On your next exhale, you're going to take that left hand back, right arm forward in an open twist. One more deep breath. And then exhale those arms back up and overhead. And we're going to take them to the inside of this left foot this time. Once more, staying here, or maybe you want to come down onto those forearms, opening through those inner hips. And if you want to engage through the upper back, pulling those shoulders down and back. So your core is working to help hold you up. Using that breath, staying connected. One more breath here. And then the exhale pushes you back up to your hands, and then stepping that left knee to match the right. Once more, maybe swinging the hips side to side, whatever would feel good in the body. We're going to go ahead and ground back down into our down dog, curling those toes under, hips up and back. This time that right leg reaches high to the sky, and then your right foot's going to step between the hands, maybe keeping that back knee lifted this time, coming into a low lunge. Arms will lift up and overhead. And we'll go ahead and stay here. If you have a block, we're going to take a twist to the floor. And if you know you want to use your block, I would grab that block now. But we're going to go ahead and take that left hand down to the floor or to your block to the inside of that right foot. So if your hand's on the block, your right hand would reach to the sky, or that hand can be all the way down on the floor, right hand is reaching to the sky. So while you're in this, I want you to really think about the energy coming out of that right hand. So don't have it limp, really have that arm nice and long, tall, long energy. Same thing with that left leg. Find that length, find the energy from your head all the way back to your toes. One more deep breath here. This time we're going to exhale, framing that right foot with our right hand. We're going to hop the left foot in about an inch or two. So you're going to ground through that left heel, straight through the right leg, and you're going to come in to stretch now through the back of our right leg. So we should feel in that back of that hamstring. Hands can come again to the lower part of the leg, or maybe to a block, and really focusing on that back. So try to resist from slumping down to keeping that back nice and straight. Uncurling through the toes so you're not clenching or gripping. One more deep breath here. And then exhale, bend into that right knee, framing that right foot with each hand, stepping it back, high plank. This time we're going to slowly lower all the way down onto our belly, chaturanga. We're going to pull those forearms through into a sphinx. So we're going to take a little time to open up through that low back, pulling the shoulders down and away from the ears, taking a breath or two here. And then we'll slowly release back down. Hands can come to the side of the chest, curling the toes under, pushing up nice and straight either to your knees or all the way up high plank, pushing it back, down dog. All right, we're going to do the other side now. So that left leg's coming high to the sky, placing that left foot between the hands, keeping that back knee lifted if you can. Arms are going to reach up and overhead. Holding here to our low lunge, pulling the left hip back, right hip pulls forward. If you want that block once more, position that block to the inside now of that left foot. And then that right hand will come down to the floor or to that block. And that arm is going to reach nice and tall to the sky. Energy coming out through the left fingertips and through that back right heel. Feeling that opening in the chest. A couple more deep breaths on this side. And then your exhale is going to frame that left foot, or that left hand around that left foot, hop that right foot in an inch or two, putting that right heel down, straightening through the left leg, finding that length and opening in the left hamstring. Shoulders pull down and back, breathing here. As you're here, focusing on pulling that left hip back, right hip pulls forward. One more deep breath. And exhale, bending into that left leg, hands framing that left foot, stepping it back, high plank, lowering all the way down onto the belly, coming through into Sphinx once more. This time you can stay into Sphinx, or if you know you want to try a little bit more, you can try Seal. So you'll push those hands into the floor, pushing those forearms off the floor. Now this is a deep low back opener, so only do this if you know this feels comfortable in your body. And you'll probably know right away if you like it or not. 1 or 2 deep breaths here. And then we're going to slowly lower all the way back down, bringing those hands alongside the chest, curling the toes under, pushing up like a board, and pushing it back down dog. Taking 1 more deep breath here. And then we're going to take that right leg high to the sky, bring that right knee through, place it between the hands. And this time we're going to spin the left heel down, and we're going to come up into our warrior 1. So pulling the shoulders down and away. Right hip pulls back, left hip is pulling forwards. Finding that space and the length in the body. On your next exhale, straightening through that right leg, hinging forward at the waist, coming down into pyramid, releasing that nose towards the knee, our second deep hamstring opener, so we might be able to go a little deeper. Listening to your body and listening to your breath. Use that exhale to sink you deeper. Inhales to find the space. One more deep breath here. Bending into that right knee, hands will frame the right foot, pivot the left toe so it's facing forward, stepping it back, high plank. Now listening up here, holding that high plank, we're going to do a little core work. We're going to pull that right knee behind our right elbow, bring it across our body like a windshield wiper towards our left, bring it back to our right, stepping it back, high plank. Same thing on the left, pull our left knee up right behind the left elbow. The left knee is going to pull across to the right elbow, bringing it back, stepping it back, holding this high plank, and then lifting those hips up and back, down dog. All right, same thing other side, taking that left leg high to the sky, place that left foot between the hands, spinning that right heel down, coming up warrior 1 on the left. Taking a few deep breaths here, pulling the left hip back, right hip pulls forward, shoulders pull down and away. On your next exhale, straightening through that left leg, hinging forward at the waist, pulling the left hip back still, and then dropping that nose down towards the knee, using the breath to get you there. Inhale, you'll find the space. Exhale, you might find the depth. On your next exhale, you're going to go ahead and bend into the left knee, framing that left foot, stepping it back, high plank. Holding this high plank, this time all we're going to do is we're going to take the right knee to the outside of the right elbow and stepping it back. Left knee to the outside of the left elbow, foot is hovering in the sky if you can. Stepping it back, one more time on each side. Right knee outside of the right elbow and back. Now left side and back. This time, dropping it down, child's pose. Letting that forehead rest to the ground, maybe rolling those wrists out. If your forehead isn't quite on the ground, always grab a block, or you can grab your fist and stack your fists on top of each other if you don't have a block handy. So either option, but I want that forehead connected to the floor if you can, staying in child's pose for 3 more deep breaths, using it as a rest and reset. And then we're going to go ahead and come back up to all fours. This time we're going to curl those toes under, back in that down dog once more. Right leg's coming high to the sky, right foot's coming between the hands, spinning the left heel down. We're going to open up into our warrior 2. So I'm going to turn directions on you. So coming into that warrior 2, I want you to sink down into that front knee, keeping that right knee tracking towards the second toe, and finding that depth here. Shoulders pulled down and away. On your next exhale, releasing that left arm back, right arm to the sky, reverse your warrior. Exhale to your warrior 2. Straightening through that right leg, reaching it forward, finding your triangle, right hand goes down, left hand goes to the sky. Once more, finding your depth here. So not going too deep, you want to make sure that chest stays open, that arm is lifted to the sky. You should be able to see a triangle shape, kind of like right here where I'm showing you, that's where you want to see that triangle shape. We're going to reverse triangle, keep that right leg straight, left hand's going to pull up and back. And then you're going to come, release those arms at your side, pivot so your right toes are now facing forward. So both toes should be facing forwards. So you're in a wide leg straddle pose. We're going to turn our heels in, our toes are going to turn out, arms are opening up into our goddess pose. So we're going to pulse down for 3 and stand. So we're pulsing for 3 and then we're standing and releasing. We're going to do that a few more times. As you're pulsing, pushing through those heels. Next time we're down, you're going to go ahead and hold. Arms can stay here or they can release to your hips, but you're going to gently shift your weight from left to right, still trying to keep those knees open. And then we'll go ahead and straighten the arms and legs, starfish. Turn your toes to face forward. Arms are coming out to the sides and slowly releasing down, forward fold. Keeping those legs out wide, you're going to release the right hand right underneath your nose. The left arm is going to open up into a twist. Now from here, maybe you want to roll out that left wrist, taking a few circles each direction. If you're not quite to the floor, you can always use that block, so that right hand can go to a block if you need. And then we're going to go ahead and switch. The left arm is coming underneath the nose, right arm is reaching to the sky. Same thing with the hips. We're trying to make sure we can balance a cup of coffee on the hips, and so we're not shifting our weight too much in the back. And then releasing that hand down. We're going to gently walk our hands from left to right. So toes are going to stay facing forward. I'm going to bend into my left knee as my hands are coming to the left. I'm going to walk them back to center as I straighten the left and bend into the right. So again, everyone's depth here is going to be different. So some might be able to go super deep, some maybe just a little bit. So seeing what feels good in your body. That's what I'm all about, is listening to your body and seeing what it's telling you. We're going to take one more on each side. And we'll find our way back to center. We're going to take those hands out to a T, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time, pushing through those glutes using the back sides of the legs. And then we're going to go ahead and pivot our left toes out. Right toes will face forward, coming into your warrior 2 on the opposite side. So now our left knee is going to be bent, right leg is straight. Holding here. Opening up that left knee so it's facing towards the second toe. Right hand's going down, left arm's going up. Reverse your warrior. Exhale back to your warrior 2. Straightening through that left leg. Reaching those left fingertips forwards and then dropping that left hand down, right arm up into your triangle. Taking a few breaths here. Shoulders are going to be down and away from the ears. This is a core work as well. So you should feel this in the core to help hold you up and stabilize you. And exhale is going to pull that right wrist back, left arm up, reverse your triangle. And then releasing that left arm at the side, pivoting those left toes so they're facing forward once more. This time we're going to go ahead and take our toes so they're pigeon-toed. So your toes are going to be facing inwards, and you're just going to go ahead and slide those arms down the legs, and then releasing them right underneath your shoulders. So this might be where you already feel that stretch in the outer part of the calf. So you can stay there. Maybe you want to walk those hands out a little into a little wide-legged down dog, and this is going to get more into the belly of that calf. So it's going to get a little deeper. So if you really like that calf stretch, you might go into that wide-legged down dog. If it's too much, just back those hands and stay right where you were. 1 or 2 more breaths. And we'll all meet back so those hands are underneath our shoulders. Pivoting your toes so they're facing forward. This time we're going to heel toe our feet together. And we're going to sit down in a yogi squat. So if you need a block, go ahead and grab one. If you know that this is not going to be great, you can use a doorway. Since you're at home, you might use a chair. But I'll show you your yogi squat is going to be sitting down all the way like this. If you're not quite there, you can also stay up on those toes and work your way there. But being at your home, sometimes a doorway is really nice because you can hold on to that doorway frame and you can get a little bit deeper into those hips. So we'll be here for about 20 minutes. Just kidding. I always like that. The yogi squats, this one is one of my favorites. It's very good for the low back. It's really good for the core. You're trying to keep your chest open, and then you can make it active by pushing those inner thighs in towards your elbows. So my inner thighs and elbows are really pushing together. I'm realizing I should have worn a different color shirt because I kind of matched my pants and my background. My bad. Next week I will. That way you can see a little differentiation, so might be able to see a little better. Sorry. Too late today. I'm also trying to distract you from your yogi squat. Hopefully it's working. And then from here, we're going to slowly exhale into a forward fold, releasing that head down, shaking those legs out. And then you're going to slowly roll all the way up to stand up. And then you can step to the top of your yoga mat. All right, I always like to incorporate balancing postures. So today is no different. So I think we're going to do dancer's pose today. We're going to go ahead and ground down though through the left leg first. So left leg is going to be grounded down. You're going to bend into your right knee. You're going to go ahead and grab the inside arch of the right foot. Now this might be where you stay. That left hand might reach to the sky, and this is where you stay in your dancer's pose. Or you might slowly start to tip forwards as you kick into that right hand. So your ribs and everything is staying down. So you're not flaring your chest open, but you're keeping everything in. So now my low belly is engaged. So I'm holding, maybe, I'm holding, and I'm kicking into that hand. So if I release my right foot, it's going to fly into the wall behind me. Taking a few more breaths here. And then we're going to exhale, releasing that side, shaking that out. And then we're going to go ahead and start on the other side, grounding down to that right foot this time, bending into the left knee, grabbing the inside arch of that left foot. Right arm is coming up to the sky, and we're going to slowly kick into that left foot as we drop our chest forward. Right arm is reaching forward, making sure that left knee is not going out to the side. The tendency is to have it go out. You want to make sure it's tucked in along the midline of the body. 2 more deep breaths here. And exhale, releasing. Shaking that all out. And then we're going to go ahead and stay at the top of our mat. Arms are going to reach up and overhead, and we're going to forward fold it all the way down. Releasing those hands down to the floor, stepping it back to your high plank. Go ahead and lower all the way down to the belly. This time we're going to come through into our Sphinx with an optional knee raise. So you would keep yourself down in your Sphinx just like so. If this gets to be too much on your low back, crocodile is the pose to do. Your forehead is going to come to your hands, your heels in, your toes will be out. If this feels okay, you might want to bring that right knee out to the side. So it's bent at almost a 90-degree angle, and that left leg just stays straight behind you. So this is going to get a little bit more into that lower back, in particular on the right side. If you did take that, notice if your shoulders went up by your ears. So if they did, try to keep them down, and that's going to get more into that low back. So just being very mindful here. If you have the right knee out, go ahead and take it straight, and then we're going to go ahead and switch sides. Right leg will stay straight, left knee is coming out to the side, shoulders are pulled down and away. And breathing here. And each side might be a little different. Maybe one side you can do it, another side you can't. So just being mindful and listening to what your body's saying today. And then you're going to go ahead and exhale that left leg back. And we're all going to go ahead and go down to crocodile. So taking your heels in, toes turned out, forehead is going to come to the top of our hands. And you're going to go ahead and stay here. Now, I'm going to sit up and talk you through this next part of this, but I want you to stay in crocodile. So again, you're going to be down, forehead is down. But I want to make sure you can hear me. So as you're in crocodile, we're going to take our 3-part breath. If you know your 3-part breath, go ahead and go into that now. If you don't, what we're going to do is in your crocodile pose, sometimes this is a little bit easier to feel when you're down on your belly, but you're going to breathe into your belly first with 1 breath. In that same breath from the belly, you're then breathing into your ribs, and then breathing that breath all the way up into the chest. Then you're going to release with that same breath, so that's all on 1 inhale. That next exhale, you're going to release from your chest cavity first, and then trying to release the breath through the ribs, and then down through the low belly. So one inhale in from the belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, releasing from the chest, ribs, belly. So I want you to focus on that for the next about 30 seconds or so. Just breathing in. And if you're new to this takes a little bit. This takes practice to get into. This is not an easy breath. But if you usually get side stitches when you're running, that might be because you're up in the chest cavity versus the low belly. So really trying to breathe all the way down to that low belly. You'll take one more round here. You'll complete when you exhale out through the low belly. And then you're going to go ahead and bring those hands alongside the chest and push yourself up to all fours. And then you can go ahead and take a seat on your heels like I am, or a comfortable seat. So we're going to come into our restorative part of our practice today. So if you have props, this is when you might want to get them handy. If not, I will teach you how to do it without the props. So the first thing that we're going to do is you might want to use a blanket. Again, you don't have to. So I'm going to unfold my blanket because I have hardwood that I'm doing this on. If you're on carpet, this might actually be fine without a blanket. But if you are on hardwood like myself, you might want to have a blanket here. So we're going to start on the right side of the body. So we're going to put the blanket out on my right side. So I just have it unfolded on here. I'm going to go down, back onto my belly. But this time I'm going to do a gentle opener with my chest and with my knee. So my right arm is coming out to 90 degrees. I'm placing it down on the floor. My right knee, 90 degrees. I'm placing it down on the floor. Now I'm going to go ahead and I might let my forehead rest on the mat, or I might take my right ear to the mat and get a little stretch in that cervical spine. And as we're here, that left arm is just wherever it's comfortable, and the left leg is straight back behind you. So I'm going to leave you here for about 30 seconds on each side, just kind of settling into the body here. And with your next exhale, you're going to gently take your head back to center. And then pulling that right knee alongside the body. You can go ahead and now switch sides, so that right arm might stay right where it is. If you want to switch the blanket to the other side, you can. Otherwise, that left arm is going to that 90 degrees. The left knee is coming out to 90. Forehead is coming to the mat, or maybe that left ear and getting a cervical twist here. Once more on this side. If this does not feel good in the hip, you can always just leave your left leg straight. So this is a gentle twist. And a lot of the times with the restorative, we want to be working 30% or less. We'll go ahead and take that left leg straight back behind us. Pull that left arm alongside the chest. Take both hands alongside the chest. Push yourself up to your knees. And then once more, maybe pausing here, I'm going to give you an option for a twist. So I know that not everyone's going to have a bolster or props, but if you do, you can use the bolster for this next twist. So if you have a bolster, you're going to go ahead and take the bolster alongside your right hip. You might put a block underneath the top. If you've been to my class before, you might know where I'm headed with this one. But our hips are going to right alongside that right side of the bolster. Your right hand's going on one side, left hand is on the other, so you're kind of straddling your bolster. Now from here, you might rest that right ear down, or you might sit up nice and tall and that left ear is going to twist back and around. If you don't have a bolster, your option is a twist on your back. So what you can do is you're going to go ahead and take those arms out to the T, knees are going to be up at 90, and all you're going to do is just let those knees fall to the right, and then you're going to let them rest on the floor or maybe on a block if they're not quite reaching the ground, but that left shoulder is going to stay down on the mat, and you're going to go ahead and look over your left shoulder or up towards the ceiling if you're on your back with that twist. So you stay here, whichever twist that you choose. We're going to be here for about a minute, and I will let you know when it's time to switch sides. The most important thing that you can do in the twist, though, is think inhale, lengthen your spine, exhale, deepen your twist. Your next exhale, if you're down on that right side over the bolster, go ahead and gently untwist, coming back to center. If you're on your back with your knees to your right, go ahead and bring those knees back to center. And then if you are on your back, go ahead and give your knees a hug. If you're on your bolster, you're going to go ahead and flip so your left hip is now next to your bolster. You'll straddle the bolster once more, and your right ear might come to the bolster or your left, whatever feels best for your neck. If you're on your back, you're going to go ahead and let those knees gently fall to your left, looking over that right shoulder or up towards the sky. And once more, we're going to be in that side for about another minute. So connecting with your breath, connecting with your body. On your next exhale, you're going to gently push yourself back up. Coming back around if you're over your bolster, you can hug those knees together and come into tree stump. If you're on your back, you're going to go ahead and pull the knees into the chest, just rocking side to side. And we're all going to go ahead and meet in a seated position. We're going to take a gentle hip opener. Now for this one, you're going to go ahead and take your soles of your feet together, knees are going to be out wide, sitting up nice and tall. If you have blocks and you know your hips are going to want them, you can go ahead and put those blocks right underneath your hips and relax those hips on those blocks. If no blocks, no worries, you're just going to do the best that you can, or maybe even pillows underneath the knees. But from here, we're going to grab those feet and we're going to sit up nice and tall, And then you're going to exhale, walking those hands down. Maybe those forearms come to the ground. Maybe that head hangs nice and heavy, but releasing through those inner thighs. Relaxing through the head. We'll be here for about a minute, but I really do want you to focus on the inner hips or inner thighs. And that exhale, see if you can release tension. Notice if your palms or if your fists are really tight. See if you can relax them. Notice as you're holding this, if your jaw starts to get tight. Try to relax through your jaw. Try to relax through your shoulders. And the more we relax other areas of the body, the more our inner hips or our inner thighs might start to release as well. Because everything in our body is connected. Trying to play our own detective and just notice what's going on with our body today. And every day our body presents different things. Two more deep breaths here. Exhale, slowly rolling up, bringing those knees together. All right, we're going to come into our final Shavasana today. So I'm going to give you a few options for that. So if you want to take a heart opener and you do have a bolster or a pillow, and you know the heart opener, you might want to hop into that one. If you like a block underneath your bolster for your heart opener, I will demo what it looks like. You're going to go ahead and put your low back next to the bolster. You would lie over the top. Your knees, your feet might actually come the width of the mat and let them fall inwards if you want to open a little outer hip. You might take another Supta Baddha Konasana where the soles of the feet are together and they let the knees go open. Or you just might be done and you just want those legs to go straight and those palms flipped up and you're just resting here. If you don't have a bolster, you can head to a traditional Shavasana lying flat on your back. And those arms out to the side. Palms flipped up in a gesture of receiving. And I'm going to just guide you through a little relaxation through this Shavasana today. So I just want you to focus on the toes. I want you to squeeze them as tight as you can. And then relax. Bring your awareness up to your calves, squeezing your calves. And then releasing. Next, bringing awareness into the thighs, squeezing your thighs and your quads. Relaxing. Squeezing your glutes. Release. Squeezing into the low belly. And relax. Making a fist and then bringing it up into your forearms and into your biceps. Just relaxing your entire arms. Maybe bringing awareness into the shoulders. I wouldn't even bring tension there. I would just try to relax it even more than it already is. And then finally scrunching up your brows and your eyebrows and your face. And releasing. And then bringing awareness into the tongue. And letting your tongue and your jaw relax. So if you notice anything still wanting to clench, maybe you go back through that again and you just try to release through the body. I'm going to let you here for about another 2 minutes, settling into your practice, connecting in with the body. Gently start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Pulling your ankles and your wrists around. Maybe turning your head from left to right. And if you're lying on your back, go ahead and roll to your left or your right side and take a few breaths there. If you're in the heart opener over the bolster, go ahead and grab behind your knees and gently pull yourself up to a seated position, and then give your knees a hug and let your forehead come down into tree stump. If you're in the side lying position now, when you feel ready, gently push up to a comfortable seated position. And if you're down in tree stump, maybe you want to cross those legs once more. We'll all go ahead and bring our palms up together above our head. We'll bring them down to our third eye, that spot between our eyebrows. Trusting your intuition. Bringing your hands to your lips. Speaking your truth. Bringing your hands to heart center, knowing yourself. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for being here. It was my pleasure, and I look forward to doing more yoga with you in the future.